semi-annual inspection report. Chance to read through it, talk about methane. We had, Mike Haynes was out there last week, got everything voted out there, so. I talked to Mike about making some repairs to some of those, inspection boards with concrete's cracking. Got the gap on the pipe. IDM wants that taken care of, and he's gonna take care of it as soon as I get with him on it. Got a confined feeding operation, or excuse me, application packet submitted to IDM from Danny Parker. The original application was May 28, 2020, this renewal date was July 29, 2025. He wants to build 2 new structures that would put his animal total up to 3,400 head. The monthly report of the clerk of the Circuit Spirit Board. Any questions regarding that? You don't see your name on it. We have the county treasurer's monthly report for the month of July. Any questions regarding that? Another letter from IDEM, dated July 28th. This is regarding their final decision has been issued for the air permit application for Terrace Supreme Battery out east of Alpena 115. So it was approved. Another letter from IDEM. This is notice of public comment dated July 22nd, started with West Manhattan. So you're receiving this notice because you asked to be on IDEM's notification list for this company. Or with other properties owned by the company being permitted. This is just for a minor source operating permit. Star of the West also sent a card. I got that in the mail, says you're invited to a ribbon cutting and open house on the 18th of September from 1 to 4 p.m. at their facility, so. We have the minutes from our meeting, which was held on July 28, 2025. The only additions, corrections to those minutes.
I have one on page 3 under sheriff. On that Stanley Systems, is it Stanley with an E or Stanley with just a Y? Because it's 2 different things in that paragraph.
I don't really know, I think it is, Stanley, I think should have an E mark.
Okay, so then the, right above that where it says Max and Jenny explain the system. It can remember in it, but it's a minor thing, that's all I see.
No other additions,
I'm
corrections?
good.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the Board of Commissioners, July 28th, 2025, with one correction.
Second.
We have motion second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And we have August 11th claims. Today's docket date on that.
I have a question on page 5. Again, it comes back to the pauper attorney. Another $6,050, okay? I guess my concern is this, again, I said last time, I've not seen, well, actually, it's $16,965, well, that was last month. I've not seen this type of expenses, I don't think, regarding a pauper attorney. So in a matter of a month, it came out to $22,935. I'm just wondering what all that was for. Well, and the other thing, like I
Usually
also
those
this.
are when they have conflicts and no one in the public defender office can represent someone, so they have to hire outside counsel, or it's an appeal.
That's what it is, I mean,
And I had that marked too, cause I don't know which it is too.
Lights is out of
Cause I haven't
Auburn,
seen Kevin's.
the Casanova is out of Indianapolis, I think, and so, I mean, and I went back, I mean, we've never seen more than $500 or $600 in a matter of a month, and now all of a sudden it's $22,000. So, you think it's related to,
Well, it has to be though, one of those two, it's
Okay.
an appeal or there's a conflict in the PD office that they can't represent someone and they
I
have to.
wondered if it was time element too, like if that was cumulative, like a longer period of time.
Yeah, well, usually you don't
versus-
bill until the case is done.
Right, so it would add up at that point.
I mean, you know, and again, one of them appears one of the firms are out of Auburn, one's out of Indianapolis, and just kind of wondering.
Usually the ones out of Indy are appeals.
Okay, as long as you're confident, that's groovy. I got one more question on page 6, under rent and leases.
BL.
Yes,
I got that too.
what's that?
I don't know.
$8,843.
There was another one to them later on, but it wasn't much.
Yeah, it doesn't say what that stands for. I got that circled too.
Where's the other one? Something else through probation.
On
The BLs.
On page 6 of the claims under community corrections, project income. It's under the rents and leases that VI or VL, I'm not sure, I think it's probably VI, yeah. What is that for?
Yeah, page 13, it's not much, $210.
Yeah. Jackie heard you.
Electronic monitoring. Oh, okay, I know what. Okay, alright, okay. Was for juvenile, okay, alright, okay, thank you, alrighty, bye. Nicole says for electronic monitoring, and the bill is split between juvenile and probation, the total bill is actually $9,053, so on that other page is for the juvenile part of it. But it was the July rental for electronic monitoring.
That's the software we probably have, or the equivalent we've got, right?
Yeah, for monitoring the probation.
I got one more question on
Yes,
page 12, and it's Geosystems under surveyors equipment. Lika Geosystems Incorporated for 15 grand. I mean, is that a Geosystems software package for just the surveyor's office?
I think, is that something to do with that tower on
Yeah.
there? That's what I was thinking.
Tower on that building,
Okay,
they use that on all
okay.
the software for when they go out, get the reading, the
I mean,
ditches and that,
The GIS system's not all combined, is this a separate system then?
Yeah, that's a separate one out there.
Okay, that's all I have.
Did you have anything?
What was, they said that Andrew Byram last 2 weeks ago
It
was
was a
for?
different Andrew Bauer.
I know, but what was it for, do you remember?
It was to get him, something to do with school.
Yeah.
He's a young person, is that what it was? Like something-
Evidently, and going
Okay.
on to.
They got another one to him for $97 bucks.
Saw that,
Yeah,
but yeah.
it was something to do
I
with him
remember that
going on to, I think it was college, wasn't it, going on to college? It was a computer that they bought for him last time.
Okay,
I don't know what, maybe I bought
$97 bucks.
something else with the charger.
yeah, charge.
If everybody's good,
New
I'll,
battery.
okay, I'll make a motion that we approve claims docket date 8/11/2025 in the gross total of $579,087.35.
Second.
Motion second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have payroll with check dated 8/7. Questions, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve payroll dated 8/7/2025 with a taxable gross amount of $504,526.
I'll second.
Good, motion second, all those in favor say aye.
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 Under old business, we have the findings and orders.
Yes, those, I think that's just base six.
You just need to make sure you have both dates on your calendar.
Oh,
Because I had the one where the review hearing is, and then the next hearing is if he hasn't done it, when bids will have to be in.
I think I've got the one, but I don't have that second one, so I'll make sure I put that on there.
Hopefully he'll be done with the first day, because
So,
Any other old business?
No. I think I have this under new business.
Okay, on new business, we have, signing the title for this, part of this building.
This was, the caravan, the Grand Caravan, was involved in an accident. They totaled it. So I have to send this to, the insurance company, the title, but there is also a power of attorney. It did mention in there, do you have a business card, Gary?
What?
Do you have a business card? Cause it asks that we send a business card with that title.
here.
I don't think I have any here.
Okay.
I can get you one though.
I might be able, I don't, the letterhead doesn't have your name on it. So I don't know if that will work, if I can just use but it doesn't have Jerry's name, but I've never had to do this before, but that's what it says. But we can try it with just a letterhead, if you want me to. But they also want you to sign that power of attorney, which usually we just sign the title and then so here, I've got everything ready to go, so there's the title and then back here is where our attorney needs to be signed.
Motion or?
Yes, on that.
I read it. That's
You bet.
weird.
Okay.
It's weird they want a power of attorney besides being signed.
I know.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we sign off on the title for the 2020 Dodge Caravan with the VIN number ending in 36494.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Hi, Amanda, I think you were just trying to call me, I apologize, I hit the wrong button.
You can sign this now, this is part
I can have Nicole.
Somebody needs to
go to-
memorize it.
Yeah, I'll have Nicole do it downstairs when I get back, she'll do that for me.
I'll let you put the tax ID number on there,
Yeah,
and then I'll give my social security.
yeah, no, that's fine, I'll put that on there.
Anything, oh, excuse me, we got, this is a request from, Albion Fire Department.
Yeah,
to use
Bob
the
Amber,
conference
Bob Amber called me and wanted to know if they could use the conference room downstairs for training for the firemen, it would be from all over the county, I think. It's in the evening, 6 to 10 is what it is. Asked him if it would only be the firefighters, he said yes, there would be no coming and going of public or anything like that, would just be firefighters. It's September 16th or the 18th, I checked both days were open, he was checking for 2 days to see which might work. And then he said that they might wanna do it later there's more training coming up in October. So, I told him I would have to check with you guys to see if that would be, I was trying to think if there was any firemen on the work here. Mark Hunter's really the only one I can think of that is on the fire department, unless they're on from another agency, I don't know. Mark was the only one I could think that, it used to be Phil Jacobs was, on it. But Mark Hunter was the only one I could think, but, his schedule would be different. He'd be working evenings, but he's got, maybe, or maybe wouldn't be, I don't know, cause he has other shifts. So I told him I would check with you guys to see if that would be permissible.
I'm gonna ask the dumb question, what kind of training, is it a sit-down training or is it movement or?
I don't think it would be physical training, I really.
Fire
Just wondered
hoses,
if-
you know, Baptist put a fire out down there, that might be a
Equipment or,
problem.
you know, self-defense or.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't think that it would be, physical training, I mean, that.
Well, I'm thinking as long as they can close it up properly and do whatever, it's their house, so to speak.
I mean, it would just, they would have to let people in, going out, you don't need to worry about it. I mean, they can go out those doors once they get in, it would just be, they would have to constantly be there to let people in. But, I mean, like I say, if they're all supposed to be there at a certain time and then they leave, it's not like people will be coming and going all evening, so. But it's not a problem leaving, those should automatically lock, they would just have to make sure the door just shut completely down there.
So is it all, sorry,
Go ahead.
is it all local?
I think it
Within
would
Noble
be-
County
yeah,
Fire
I
Department people,
I
that
mean,
they would
that's the
recognize who was coming in?
Yeah, that's the impression that I got, that would be
Okay.
from Noble County firemen, so. And I got his phone number, I don't know if he'd be available, we could call him if there's.
And my only concern is are we opening the door for any group that wants to use the conference room to train? In this building, we're gonna require them to have security present.
That's the thing.
You know, when they did the South Complex, they had to have a department head present that was for each, they had to be there to open and close it.
Yeah.
So, none of our department that I know or department heads or anything else, so we gotta make arrangements to have an employee here.
You have to
Because
let
if
him
we're
in
gonna go
at
that
6
route,
o'clock, yeah.
I think it's a liability.
I wanna make exceptions, cause you'll eat it down the road.
Yeah, I think it's a liability for us
We
if
may
we don't
wanna
have
develop
security.
a policy on that.
Yeah. I mean, I trust departments 100%, don't get me wrong, but it's just when you make exceptions, it bites you, so we just have to make out.
Well, like you say, maybe you come up with a policy where you have some type of security,
Clearly,
if that's a concern.
Well,
It
it's
is
just,
for me.
it would be for me.
No, I mean, that's what I mean, if it's a concern.
Especially if somebody slips in and they all then going just into that room, that other person's gonna wander all over the building.
I'm not opposed to it, we'll work on a policy, but I'll talk to Bob about it, we'll see if we can have
Okay,
somebody.
alright, I've got his number if you want,
Okay.
maybe you got it, okay. Alright, well, he's the one I talked to, so if you just wanna,
Yeah, we get that.
okay, alright,
I mean,
sounds good.
so I'm not opposed to it, it's just,
Generally Shane Coney participates in stuff like that too, I don't know if that,
would he qualify for security? No.
I mean, he would.
Yeah, I know he would, no, I mean, it's just bottom line, he would, I would just, but
I didn't think about Shane, I don't know,
I'll find out, but that's one way of doing it, you know.
okay. Alright, that's all I have then, so.
Okay. Anything else?
I mean, just you can't stop them from touring the building or, you know, everything else, once they have access, that's. Falling down the stairs.
Okay, Casey, you're up.
Good morning. I think everybody, I don't know if I sent it to Denny.
Yeah,
For the strands of lights going to the courthouse, that's why I am here today. So the last 2 years been under remodel. Prior to that, you know, I've been here 26 years, so I know, I'm gonna guess it's been going on for about 40 years, 45, 50 years. The strands to the courthouse have been lit up for Christmas. Now's a good time to come to the commissioners and to, you know, ask permission to keep, I say tradition, for that. But I think there are things that we need to work out with, you know, things being new. We accessed, an area to go on the flat roof, and then, we throw the rope down, actually use a thrower that you use for tree work, and then it pulls the strand of lights up. So, in doing that, there's, you know, safety issues. We've got a safety, clevis strap up there. Josh Gunder's been doing this for many years, he uses his harness. We do have it's all volunteer based except for myself. I'd be the one in charge for the town of Albion. In the past, you know, getting in the courthouse and getting access up there. Years ago, my dad was on the county council, he got us in there, so, you know, moving forward, I wanna make sure everybody knows what's going on. If we get permission, you know, I need to get up there, access to make sure the power is still good and make sure, you know, the access up there is the same, or, you know, need to, make a connection with, Mr. Ryan, to, do that. Also with, strands being connected at the ground, there's 4 corners. I have not located any of them yet this year. I wanted to come and ask for permission to do that. I know probably one of them will need to be changed instead of trimming the tree out. On the northwest corner here, we would actually just move it. I noticed that chimney was maybe cut down, how many feet?
Just the capping stone's probably about 4.5 feet.
Yeah, and that works out well because we can actually move it now, cause it was on, I think on one side or the other, but instead of trimming the tree, we'd move that post. I'd work with Glenn on that. So, and that would not impede mowing or anything, they're down in the ground, you know, probably 2 or 3 inches. So access to, 2 dates it'd be the Sunday after Thanksgiving and the Sunday after, the first of the year. My plan is, unless told otherwise, you know, I do have access to, with the card, you know, I can get trained again by Glenn, or somebody would have to be here to access in that day and let us out. So, you know, whatever you guys wish, you know, if there's a charge, whatever, you know, whatever we gotta do, but, you know, we're asking for permission. I think it's a good timing to, you know, there was a 2-year lull, now it's time to talk about everything. I know everything's new, and, see if we can, you know, figure something out. So, I'm sure there's questions.
No, I mean, I don't get questions, I mean, it's, like I said, we haven't done it for
Yeah,
these 2 years, it's time to,
to
it's kind of a tradition for.
make sure everybody's on the same page.
Yeah.
You know, I think maybe the biggest issue that I would have is what would happen if I'm not here that day. I think I've only missed 1 day in my whole career. I was up, I think Ohio hunting. So I think that would be the biggest thing, if you guys do give me permission to access it. You know, I don't know if I'm the department head type or whatever with, you know, the card as council, but, you know, I'd be the one responsible, so if not, we, you know.
I think I do it, I'll come in, not a problem.
Okay.
We'll get you in, get you guys in, get them out, I guess, all right.
Okay.
I think it sounds good.
So I would work with Glenn on the outside, you know, if I gotta do a line location on the one, I'll get with him to get access. I'm gonna assume not through the day, whatever works for maybe early morning, before workers get in and out, and I wanna test power and, get everything lined up for this fall, because, you know, it's gonna be here quick, so.
Oh, yeah. Summer's gone already, I can't imagine. You know, I was coming through a town in Ohio, what town in Ohio's got the same courthouse as ours? Bryan, and it was at nighttime, around Christmas time, I don't know what I was doing up that way, coming through there at night, but they had those lights, I thought it was really cool. Instead of coming down to the ground, when it crossed to the buildings across the road, I just said, I mean, you know, you can get
I think they
a
used to
bungee
do
thing,
that.
can't you, man?
Yeah, years ago, I think there's.
I mean, it was pretty cool how it lit
Yeah.
up the whole street and everything, you know? Okay, I'm just saying, that was groovy.
Good, I'd entertain a motion for Casey and his.
I'll make a motion that we allow the town of Albion, in conjunction with the Albion Parks Department,
to put the strands up at the courthouse for the holidays this year. And you said November 28th is probably the day.
The
That's the
tradition is the Sunday
Yeah,
after,
oh,
and I
Sunday
work with the,
30th would be,
Okay,
yeah,
the 30th,
volunteers, so,
okay.
and
yeah.
January 4.
Okay,
Jamie, did you say the fourth?
Yeah. That's the Sunday after the first of the year. Unless you would do another week.
Well, I, that should work, I didn't even look at it, to be honest. Yeah, that should work. And do you guys want me to come back every year for this, or is it,
yes.
Okay.
So my motion is
Yes.
for the 2025
and is there a
Christmas
reason
season.
then why?
Just that they won't be the commissioners forever.
Okay.
And you could have a commissioner, for some reason says no.
Well, I take two.
Yeah, but
Oh, not a problem, I just wanna make sure.
So my motion is for 2025.
because they really shouldn't do anything beyond the term of their serving right now, really, so.
Fair enough.
I don't know where that was in, so.
You good? Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
You'll need somebody who has a full access key, because now the entry to the fourth floor does go through the courts. You literally have to go through a courtroom to get up there, which means you need courtroom clearance. So just to keep that in mind.
And that would be, I assume, just give Dave Baum, and that'll be like a,
Building maintenance has full access, so.
okay, but if he's not here, in case he needs to get in, or I need to get in, it'll just be a temporary.
Jackie has a master, worst case scenario, but Dave could get he could program a key card if you would prefer that.
I mean, it's fine, you know, but I would just put a limit on it for.
Yeah.
I've only got maybe one key left, so, cause I think there was only 4 of those.
Yeah, worst case
Full
scenario, but if you
access,
give Dave enough heads up, he'll get something programmed.
Okay. Yep, that'll work.
Okay, thank you.
Alright.
Have a good week.
Yeah.
Matt,
Good morning.
Richard is out in the room, heavy chip sealing again, this morning, so no comments on that front. Before we get into the agenda, I did have a quick update on the highway. Did a little bit of an audit on our internal staff, and give or take in the next 2 years, we could potentially be down about half our staff. We have 7 to 8 guys that'll be eligible or potentially transitioning either into retirement or into new careers. So it's gonna be challenging likely here in the next couple of years, just staying staffed up. We've put in a request in this budget cycle to get our wages up currently. From what I was able to calculate, went through all the local highway departments in the northeast that surround us, pulled all their wages for their 2025 salary ordinance, compare apples to apples, we're about 7% below average, just for our highway jobs. So that's gonna be challenging both from employee retention to new hires. We could get that 7% plus the 3% cost of living, I think we'd be in pretty good shape, so that's what we submitted in our budget. I think a lot of the guys that are eligible to go here in the next 2 years for full perf would stake it out probably another 3 to 5 just to get their perf averages up. A lot of them like working, it's just when you hit that combined 85, most of them take the retirement and they get a retirement job somewhere else. You lose a lot of experience that way too, so looking across the board, we'll continue to attack that issue, but if things don't go well at budget hearings, something to be aware of especially as we work into the winter. With that, we'll switch gears, get into our regular agenda here. Storm damage update, continued correspondence with Liberty Mutual. They had their third-party construction inspection guy in last week. It was very thorough. He actually got up into the above grade, above ceiling, what was not previously accessible. Now that all the debris is cleaned out, he got up there, he took full laser measurements, videoed the whole area, and then did moisture control tests through the whole building. So I think we're in a pretty good place with our claim as is, but there potentially could be additional qualifying items. We've also completed the salt barn repairs last week, so that building is now taken care of also. Continuing to work through design development, likely look at doing some kind of design bid specifications for the repairs to the front building. Hopefully I'll have some estimates, some general scope of information for the next meeting. Community crossings, 2025, 2026, as you know, last meeting, I updated you that we are closed out in 2024, which gives us full eligibility going into 2026, with 2026 being our state fiscal year. It'll be opening up here in October. So it took some time last week to go through some scoping. I have what we would consider 6 projects. We have pretty much scoped, ready to go. This will likely end up being 20 plus projects. Some of these subdivisions, you have to split every individual intersection to intersection out for the way you put it in for community crossings. So, but this will just give you an idea. We're looking at 6 projects, total amount of 1.25 mil, which breaks down at 80-20 to $1 million grant, $250,000 match. What you're seeing here is a continuation of a lot of things that we've been doing over the last decade. So 300 South, that was one of the first projects we did in-house reclamation on. It has good base, but we only put a triple chip seal on it. It's starting to wear pretty heavy, so an overlay structurally will be timed well for that. 300 North between State Road 3 and 1000 East, familiar with that. It's one of the only places we have a no truck ordinance. It's beats, you can see the edges are worn in. So this will basically be a large wedge and level on that section. 100 North, between State Road 125, reclamation project that has been holding up just due to some of the drainage issues which are now fixed. So that structurally should add some more life into that. William Lake Road and County Road 150 West over there, near Haven. We put micro surface out over there in 2017 as a big Band-Aid that is probably overstated as well. So getting around to a lot of these subdivisions that we kind of did some mid-grade fixes, knowing they wouldn't hold up, but knowing they would buy us 6, 7, 8 years, and here we are at that 8-year mark. Same thing with Pheasant Cove subdivision. We kind of put micro surface on there to hold it, and now here we are. It's a large subdivision at nearly 3 miles. So that's the reason looking at putting it across big enough. But that being said, works out to a nice size package, going after the full 1.25 in a single grant. The reason I want to go after the single grant instead of splitting this out is it's all or nothing. We'll either get it or we won't. There's not going to be a second call. If we don't get it, we'll get our full distribution of the community crossing share. If we do get it, we got $1 million of projects funded. So I see that as a win-win. If we don't get the grant itself, but we do get the distribution, we may rescope these to make that a little more cost effective to do in-house. There's no questions on the community crossing. If not, we'll get letters of support scoped, and then we'll be ready to go here in October already again. LPA call for projects. I'm gonna kind of segue this with bridge inspection, kind of as a package deal. There was an email that was in the set, and basically what I had asked for was, hey, I know you guys are finalizing our bridge inspection, but we're looking at the grant cycle that's rapidly approaching. We already know Bridge 75 is eligible. Can you please tell me what else is eligible? You'll see in that list, Bridge 4, Bridge 45, and Bridge 65 all kind of snuck on the list this year. I knew 65 was out there, but Bridge 4 and Bridge 45 were both deteriorating much faster than we had anticipated. Again, those they're all box king bridges. So going from 2 to likely 4 projects for this next fall. When these things come up, you really can't wait. Bridge 4, they don't think that it would make it to a 2031 letting. It's also very small, at only 20-some feet. So the thought, this is just over here on 75 south of Weber Road. I think you'll see it. It gets a lot of heavy truck traffic, especially with the State Road 9 closures. It's just getting beat on. It's a smaller structure. And we've done a lot of these big box culverts, conspans with CivilCon. So I think low production costs, we could do something similar, kind of get them going on just designing a conspan, which is technically a bridge, but it'd be a pre-manufactured 20 to 25 foot structure that we could get implemented pretty quick. So I requested that they put a proposal together for that. As far as 45 and 65, I'd like to get those scoped for this next call for projects. So I've requested some PR contracts. Lockmuller, Michael Barron, who puts those together, was out last week, so I don't have theirs back yet. But I do have one here for United. On Bridge 65. So these abbreviated engineering reports are basically the cost justification portion that we need for federal grant application. Basically, they go through standard scoping, but it gives us a good construction estimate that we need for the grant application. And I mean, technically the scope is 10,000, if they just prove themselves, but they use their standard form, which is your guys' signature. So that's why I'm bringing it here today. Also, we just.
It's their standard that United which is for all. Assuming the various appendices are correct.
Yep.
That's fine.
Entertain motion.
Okay, make a motion, we approve United Consulting to do the engineering for bridge number 65 to come up with a cost replacement estimate with a fee not to exceed $8,000.
A second.
Okay, we have motion and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Similar, when I get Lockmullers, I'll keep them going too. It would be nice to put all of these in.
Sure.
Because in the past, you never know what you're gonna get, but we have been awarded 4 projects in one call before, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. So with CivilCon taking Bridge 4, Bridge 45, 65, and 75 are what we would scope for the federal call. 75 is pretty much ready to go. We just have to update the cost estimate for a year of inflation. We get these other 2 scoped, and then we have phase 1 of 600 West for the added shoulders that Lawson Fisher is finalizing. Those have been more detailed work. So that'll constitute all 4 projects that we'll have for federal aid. And then obviously the community crossings will be going for a full $1 million on that as well. So it should be another big year for grants. Bridge 67, the RFP is posted, LOIs are due at your next meeting. Those will be actually due at noon that day, just when how things were set up with us getting posted and trying to fast track, so we'll distribute those once they're received and bids are closed at noon. Bridge 136, no update there. Bridge 44, we did submit our closeout documentation, so that is wrapping up. Ball Road, construction update, construction's complete, we opened on Friday evening, all signage. Technically, we still have to close it out on the federal side of construction records, waiting for, the grass to fully grow in, some of those closeout items, but the road is open to traffic. Bridge 134, we had final parcel we're working through there, that we did with the counter offer, so right away should be working its way towards closeout in advance of our February letting. Similar, Bridge 69 is progressing towards that same February letting. State Road 3, no updates there. Bridge 59, we have the LOIs for construction and inspection for scoring. I do have the past performance data, distribution, scoring there. Then I also have an LPA voucher for Bridge 59 for preliminary engineering claim 23, total amount of $1,559.
Okay, make a motion to approve LPA voucher invoice number 109205, the amount of $1,559.
I'll second.
We have motion second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Well, Riley Road, we had the preliminary field check last week, that went well attended by the utilities, including the Snowball Corporation for, they have their fiber line through there. Good field check meeting, a lot of good progress there. We'll continue to work through the environmental challenges. Right now, we're looking at our environmental being approved all the way into April, just on the review timeline, which is not great. But we do have contingencies in place, so we'll continue to keep that moving forward. No major updates on our other federal aid projects there. County Road 525 West was advertised for public hearing on the 23rd and 30th. So we do have that for public hearing now.
This is an ordinance that, highway engineers conducted an engineering and traffic investigation on County Road 525 West between County Road 625 North and US 6 N, whereas except as otherwise provided by law, a person may not operate on a highway a vehicle or combination of vehicles of a size or weight that exceeds the limitations set forth on a sign posted on or at the entrances to the highway or part of the highway that is affected. Whereas upon the basis of this engineering and traffic investigation, the Melton County Board of Commissioners have determined that it's in the best interest of the health, safety, and general welfare of the public traveling over and along County Road 525 West between County Road 625 North and a point 1,500 feet north of County Road 625 North, all in Noble County, Indiana, that this facility be declared no through dump trucks or commercial vehicles except local delivery vehicles. In violation of this ordinance shall constitute a penalty of not more than $500.
Anybody from the public want to speak on this one?
One question I have, just so that someone doesn't come back and say, I didn't understand that, because it's no through dump trucks. Is there gonna be a sign that says that?
There's gonna be a sign that says exactly that.
Is that what you usually use for this sort of thing? I thought maybe it'd be no dump trucks or commercial vehicles permitted except local delivery.
Yeah, that is literally what the sign's gonna say, what's in the caps there.
That's,
We're gonna have to get that one.
anybody, make sure they understand when it says no through, that means.
Right.
I do want somebody raising that down the road, then that, well, that's not clear what you're saying.
We did similar language on 300 North,
Okay.
and it was well received,
Okay.
so
just didn't want that to be someone raising that, so.
The only issue is we'll have to get custom signs ordered that are big enough and legible that say exactly how the ordinance
Okay.
reads.
Does that include garbage collection?
I mean, that would be a local delivery, so no.
Will the placement of the signs be on both ends of that
Yeah.
section?
Yeah, it'll have to be right there at the intersection to the south, and that point is basically exactly south of where the proposed gravel pit's going.
Sure.
How far in advance of this area will signs be then? I mean, someone starts down that road and they get there and,
I think the intention is to put it right south of the entrance to the gravel pit.
okay,
You could turn around in there.
so I was wondering, just so.
But
That's kind of what I wondered too.
A lot of it
That's sort
is-
mid-
It's just this is just the enforcement side of how they're already planning to operate. It's just if you have somebody who doesn't work for the pit that's coming to get a pickup so they understand, they have to go north out of there. And then 6 is right there, so you can go anywhere you want. They just, part of the agreement is they didn't want all this new gravel pit traffic running through the lake residential properties to the south and
Yeah.
causing potential
We'll
accidents.
just have to see how it works.
It's a steep hill anyway,
It's very
that one
steep
coming
hill.
downhill.
Alright.
Okay.
Any other questions regarding the ordinance?
You good?
I'm good.
Good.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion then.
Okay, I make a motion that we approve the no dump trucks, commercial vehicles, on County Road 525 West between County Road 625 North and a point 1,500 feet north of County Road 625 North in Noble County to restrict the transportation of heavy dump trucks and commercial vehicles, local delivery only.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried.
Oops, sorry.
Next up, we have 1,000 East. I've drafted an ordinance modifying the speed limit from the existing 55 per Indiana code down to 45. This would be between North County line and Cameron Road, which is basically our entire jurisdiction, switched over to Campbell's jurisdiction at that point.
And you still don't have a petition?
Still do not have, not that it's required, I mean, the way that we went about this study was per commissioner's motion. But typically, I always provide the petition just for full transparency, that a lot of these things that we're looking into were requests from the public, we're just not going around changing things all on our own. And a lot of them are either concerns, or if it's something we initiate, it's normally a safety reason. We'll have sometimes safety report, but as far as this, there's no petition or heat map or anything to reference as like the starting point of this. We could just reference the commissioner's meeting minutes if we had to, but typically you would see petition. I think they were working on it,
Guys on that. You can do it, you don't need a petition.
which typically we always have, just
Yeah.
giving you a heads up.
I think the person who was going to do it kind of got dumped in her lap, and she's been traveling a lot this summer. So I think it's probably just one of those things that it would need to be someone else to take the ball and run with it if it's gonna be a requirement.
You know, I mean, we can always just add that to the meeting minutes when we have the actual public hearing on this. Right now, what we have is a draft ordinance for advertisement, so we still have time also. I can always amend the speed study and add a petition later.
Okay.
So if we would move forward, it would be a motion to advertise for public hearing.
Okay, make a motion that we move forward with advertising for the reduced speed limit on County Road 1000 East between Cammer Road and County Road 1200 North, or also called County Line Road.
I'll second.
We have a motion second, all in favor say aye.
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 Next up, we have a follow-up speed study on Old State Road 3. This is the fourth iteration of this speed study, so we'll look through the purpose there. I kind of give a background. The initial study was completed in April of 2024. There was a lot of excessive speeding that was skewing the 85 percentile speed rather high. So we want to try and calm traffic in order to get a fair read in the area. A follow-up study was done in October of 2024 to gauge the effectiveness of traffic calming measures. And I think at that point we saw that things got worse, not better. So we continued to do some traffic calming. A third study was completed in April of this year. Speeds had slowed to the point where it decreased to 50 miles per hour as warranted, so we adopted 50 by ordinance. And this fourth study is basically to evaluate the effects of lowering the speed limit this last round. Kind of see over the years what all's happened through there. I will say this, if anyone's been through State Road 3 right now, it's a mess. So the first thing I'm gonna point out is we saw our traffic numbers jump up quite a bit. We were around 650 to 700 in the northbound lane for the last three studies. We're over 863 on this study. Similarly, we're around 620 to 700 for the southbound, and we're at 822 on this one. So kind of keep that in the back of your mind that a lot of traffic has increased on Old State Road 3, mostly because of State Road 3 being shut down to a single lane each direction. We did see that the 85th percentile speed, it slowed in the northbound lane from 67.45 to 65.91. It's about a 1.5 mile per hour decrease. Same thing with the southbound, we saw the 85th percentile go from 64.3 to 63.1, so 1.25 miles per hour decrease. We did see the excessive speeding though increase, but again, we have higher traffic volumes, so that you would assume that would scale up. With that, there's still 164 vehicles in excess of 75, which is now 25 over the speed limit, 20. Same thing, we had 104 vehicles in excess of 75 in southbound. So, I mean, there's still a lot of speeding out there. I think the only way you're really ever gonna combat that is if you have a local law enforcement presence. So we have forwarded this to the sheriff's department. They have, I know how many miles they have to patrol, and that's how many miles we maintain plus all the state and local routes. So it is challenging. That being said, as we start working on Old State Road 3, there will likely be a lot of various closures, or the entire thing potentially could be shut down at once, and then we just maintain open traffic. So that will hopefully defer some of the speeders back to State Road 3, but something to keep an eye on. I would be hesitant to make any other major changes at this point, but I do think we should do a follow-up study post-construction when the road is opened up.
You know, with the majority of those vehicles that were over 25 mile an hour limit, unless the law's changed, that the officer can write for reckless driving instead of just a speed citation. Gets in their pocket a little bit more.
Yeah, and like I said, there's a lot of different compounding effects. You know, if somebody's driving 70 miles on 3 and there's construction and they want to go 70 and they come over here, then you're probably getting there to do some other way as well. With that being said, I am planning do another speed study here post-construction, but if there's any other discussion you wanna have for currently, would be open to that as well. And like I said, this was shared with the sheriff's department as well, so hopefully it's something they can utilize to kind of pinpoint some of the worst speeding times. And then lastly, we have a petition on Baseline Road, right there at State Road 3, so relatively in the same area. Just to provide some context, Old State Road 3, obviously one of our highest volume routes, we're looking at a major federal aid project there. Baseline Road, also one of our higher volume routes. We did a safety project at 600 East years ago. It's a 45 throughout that entire zone. We've always found excessive speeding. It is fairly hilly terrain. We also looked at doing some pretty major road projects similar to 400 North, from 600 East to State Road 3 that we put in for a couple funding rounds, didn't get funded. With inflation, the council didn't support going after those projects anymore. So they kind of fallen to the side. There are no major plans in the area. But that being said, we did get a petition from Catherine Pierce that I sent out ahead of this meeting. We go through the entire petition, but the intersection there at Baseline and Old State Road 3 is her main concern, specifically for westbound traffic.
This is Catherine.
Yeah, we'll give her an opportunity to speak as well. But I did want to give you some background. She was in a very bad accident there, very bad injury accident. You're going to see the full list of issues that she had suffered. And she had stated that she had talked to a lot of the local community going back, that there had been accidents in that area, bad accidents similar to the one that she was involved in. You can see the full list of petitioners that is attached. So that's what we're looking at. As far as the highways response, we try to be as proactive as we can on high accident areas using heat maps annually to see where we have the highest volume of accidents. This one doesn't particularly populate on our map, but that's not to say that newer data couldn't be trending in the other direction. So the heat map's more or less frequency, where this one might be more on the severity side. Maybe there aren't as many accidents as some other places, but there are a lot of injury or worse, whereas some of the things that maybe populate are a lot of like deer crashes, but not necessarily being severe accidents. So going forward, the plan here is to do our standard process of doing traffic investigation and speed study. We already have our traffic counters out there collecting the eastbound from the west side of Baseline. We'll need to move them, get the east side of the intersection and also State Road 3. Based on the safety elements of this one, I've also put a request into LTAP already for a full road safety audit, similar to what we've done on Baseline 600 West, 600 East, just west of here, that ended up being a safety project. Same thing we've done on Ball Road, same thing we've done on 100 North. A lot of those road safety audits have turned into safety projects that have been funded 90 or even 100% on Ball Road's case. So we have that going as well. But with that, that is kind of just some background on this, and open it up for public comment if you want to come and speak.
Well, I was hoping to come here and speak somewhat eloquently on all of this, but I'll settle for brevity. It is only by the grace of God and the skills of the Avila Fire Department that I'm standing here today, because I came within a fraction of my life. I still have a broken neck as we speak that cannot be repaired. I've got numerous injuries, but it's not me. I was shocked afterwards to find out from numerous people, officials that have worked in that area, as well as just numerous members of the community, of how many people had the exact same scenario at that exact same location. there's a big problem with people on Baseline that are headed east, going west to east at that intersection of Old State Road 3. Stop signs don't mean anything, whirligigs on top, whatever, don't mean anything, flashing lights don't mean anything, speed limits mean nothing. This is a very, very dangerous intersection. And it is my goal now to make it my mission, to my last breath, to do whatever is necessary that we can mitigate the danger to the Noble County community and citizens at that intersection. Because it's proven, statistics, procedures, policies, I know everything has to follow a certain plan. But all that aside, reality in real life is many, many people's lives are in danger, people have died there. Many people have gotten severe injuries at that intersection. And I know accountability, I'm a firm believer in accountability. The person that hit me was an idiot, and he's accountable for running that stop sign, or should be held accountable. And that happens a lot, and that's a lot of the problem. But also there's accountability, I think, on the level of now that we have governing bodies, we have people that know that this is a consistent problem, a real problem, and it's costing people their lives, their livelihoods. And I think at this point, I'm really calling for your support and supporting me and supporting Mr. Smith and his department in doing anything possible that you can to be very aggressive and proactive measures to do something to mitigate the danger at that intersection. And my petition that I put out was from my research, and I'm not a professional, but from my research and the statistics I saw, transverse rumble strips are a viable, affordable option. At this point, even if it's only temporary till maybe you could do something else, that's a viable option because, like I said, the visible things are nothing to these people. But that would be tactile and audible warning for somebody that they could not ignore in any way, shape, or form. So.
And just to give some background, we have had the failure to yield, or failure to stop yield right away is normally the main issue at this intersection.
Yeah.
We have recently put the spinners on top. We've had success other places with those. Additional signage, putting up some of the high reflectivity strips, so at nighttime they stick out. But as you see, we continue to get accidents in this area particularly. And I agree, a lot of times these road safety audits will have short-term, intermediate, and long-term fixes. Looking at what we can do immediately that's normally cost-effective, like the transverse rumble strips. The issue is that's something that will need to continually be maintained, and like you'll see on, if you're familiar with State Road 3 and US 6, they have those there in the northbound lane. They haven't really maintained them since they put in. So I think that is something we can do, but having LTAP support to do that full report, to give you the list of everything they would recommend, short, intermediate, and long term, will give us more options to look at. So that being said, obviously it's up to the commissioners what to do going forward, but we've already queued up the speed study, we've already queued up the road safety audit. So I didn't think it was necessarily worth waiting. I think those things are informational and should be done regardless. And then we can definitely look into all the action items that come out of that going forward.
I do personally know of 2 people that were seriously injured at that intersection. They're no longer with us. It wasn't from the accident that they passed away, but their injuries were life-altering. Jim and Jean Cook, he was a former managing broker at the real estate office that I'm with, and it made a huge difference in their quality of life going forward.
Yes, my life is short now, and there's many things I can't do anymore, and I'm still going through therapies to try and get range of motion with my neck, so that, simple things, but many people, same injuries, same intersection, it always seems to be from people coming from the same direction. And there is also, I don't know what you would call it, Zach, that the visual thing that when you come up there, it's almost like Highway 3 kind of melts into when you're coming down Baseline.
Yeah, so like if you have Baseline Road, if you've been out on it, it's a pretty rural county road, it's kind of just laid out, it is hilly through there. When we were looking at doing some of those Baseline projects, What they would have done is knock down some of those hills and then also widen the road so you have shoulder, you have clear sight distance, specifically when you're approaching an intersection. Just one of those things, you have a small county road button up to what was an old state road right away. Like I said, baseline road, we know we have a lot of speeders down that road. With those projects likely not gonna happen anytime in the near future, I think it makes sense to look at this just at the intersection to see if, even if we can't fix everything west of there, we at least take care of the approaches and try and just focus on the safety aspects of the intersection itself.
Long term, just a question, is a traffic light even a reality there? Would that be a possibility?
Yes and no, I mean, that would be the highest tier, what you would likely have before that is what they have, like again, north of town, where you just have a large flasher. There's a whole bunch of different tools and methods you can use, but I think that's why it's nice to bring LTAP in, because they'll bring in consulting professionals, they'll bring in state and potentially federal staff to look at it, so you get a bunch of different angles. Law enforcement will also be involved in the safety audit. So, and then we'll have a full third-party report to act upon.
How long does that usually take?
I have scheduled, they're hoping to be here sometime in September. And we'll be getting all the traffic data in the meantime, which will help facilitate that, but also give you guys a brief overview of what's going on, east, west, and then on State Road 3 as well, all 3.
Did you pass them out there?
Yeah, it got scanned in, they all got their own copies, and it'd also be included in the commissioner's record.
Well, thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thanks for coming in and stepping forward.
Thank you, Ken.
That concludes everything I have in highway business, unless there's any questions. All right, thank you. I'll go get this stuff started.
Don? Come on up, have a seat.
Good morning. Barbie, come up too.
You're more than welcome, come up too.
Alright.
We don't bite.
Okay.
At least I don't.
So originally when I was asked to be on the agenda, it was for something totally else, but we can talk about this. I missed all the hearings about the buggy plate increase, so that's what I wanted to ask some questions today. And then I have a request. So I guess my first question, because I missed those meetings, is why was there such a jump in the amount of the buggy plate?
Well, I think it's related to what LaGrange is charging, and we're still under what they're charging. And you raised that same issue.
Well, the damage to the roads, Zach was paving the roads.
Should have saved Zach.
I told him that they were up, he said he'd be right back,
Okay.
so. But,
But that was the reason, looking at where it was now versus what LaGrange is charging. I think they're $250.
Yeah.
And they're gonna go up every year based on some factors.
I know Elkhart County is doing that, I don't know about LaGrange, I'm not familiar with theirs. It was just such a large jump.
The problem is they're putting tungsten on the horseshoes.
wait, there's horseshoes over
On the
here.
horseshoes, yeah, and you've got some.
Yeah, there's the horseshoe.
And it's tearing up the roads. They're adding that, and they're doing it to have the horseshoes last longer, but in doing so, it's tearing up the roads. And Zach can attest to recent paving that was just done on Ball Road. And it wasn't complete, and it was barricaded off. Barricades were removed, and a buggy went down through there, and you could tell because the markings were there, and so was some horse manure. But in the meantime, got a brand new road that wasn't even complete yet, and it it was torn up.
Have you talked to the Amish community about this?
I've actually given the ordinance to the bishops in that area, they're gonna put it out, they have no, they didn't say anything negative about the increase. So I gave that ordinance to them on the increase and they were gonna publish it in their Amish paper, so everybody's clear on it.
I have heard feedback on it because I deliver some plates to Perry Township Park family. And they didn't seem to have a problem with the increase, just doing it all at once, and especially when we have a lot of the young Amish families starting out, and it is a little tough on them as well. But we also have the churches up there, they buy their plates for the trailers and different things. Now I've realized the trailers aren't going up, but they are thinking, you know, when they have 4 to 6 trailers at a time and, you know, keep raising it, that does cause a problem for them.
Yeah, I think LaGrange did something where they had increased theirs from 100 to 200 a few years before us, but then they did some indexing. You know, $10 a year, I think they're now 220 or maybe 230. We kind of looked at theirs because they have similar issues just on a larger scale, and we tried to kind of match where they were gonna be long term. I think they are gonna end up going up to 300. I doubt we look at any other major changes, but one of the other items that we have going on that is gonna affect the community in a good way up there, so we're looking at putting a grant on 600 West to add full shoulders, 8-foot shoulder, because there's a lot of oversized, overweight traffic, but there's also a lot of buggy traffic to where we could get some traffic separation, similar to what you see on some of the state routes. That's gonna be a large multi-million-dollar project. Even with the grants, we're gonna have a lot of funding that we have to match even at 20%, that a lot of these new fees could go towards. So I get that there's an increase, and I get that it seems somewhat out of the blue, but the reality is we've been lagging behind LaGrange for a long time. And, you know, with the funds, we are gonna be using them to make practical improvements for the community up there.
And we have more and more Amish Amish moving into this community.
Oh, I know, I'm doing the plate. I see them all. So what's your agenda on the 600? Because that's very exciting news. That road is insane.
Yeah, I agree with you. So we have a project that's being scoped that we're gonna put into this next round. We normally do federal call for projects towards the end of the year, October, November. So we're fully scoping into that. It'll be the only road project we're putting in.
Okay. For 2020, I mean.
So it'd probably be for 2031 construction. Normally takes about 5 years of development.
So it'll start in 2031?
That would be construction if we get awarded. So if we get awarded, what'll likely happen is we'd find out in the spring, you've been awarded this project, get into a consultant and start doing design. We have to go through a couple years of design, environmental permitting. We'd have to buy all that right away, because that's the other thing. If you've been through the area, the right of way is fairly narrow. So you'd have like a year or so of doing that, and then you get towards final construction documents, and it would likely bid out in 2030, 2031, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And that would be phase 1, which I'm calling US 6 to 900 North. As that's going concurrently, we would start scoping phase 2, which would be 900 North to the county line.
Oh, so only to 900 in 2031 if everything goes
Yeah,
smooth.
that's like fully kind of pushing everything. We've done a couple of these road projects on Ball Road, just got completed. If you're familiar with that area, that went, I'm trying to think, that would have probably been 6 years ago from when we started working on that one.
I was just on that road and there's already people not stopping at their stop signs. And I was like, I understand putting them there, but yet is it feasible when you're on this side, you're coming around anyways, it's still a sharp curve. So just coming to a stop, I don't know that that's gonna work because it's where it's at, it's kind of hidden and people will think they don't have to stop there, so.
Yeah, I mean, it is signed and designed, so they should stop there, but again, it's a low volume road, and it's basically a two-way stop, because the other entrance is just a driveway. But the problem was with the curve there, the way it was, people weren't following the speed limit anyway, and it was leading to catastrophic issues. So I think this is a major improvement for just slowing traffic down so that you don't have a lot of the speeding related accidents.
Well, that's good news, thank you.
And it does look nice.
Not that part, I meant I'm still on 600. So, the stipend that is involved in us processing all the buggy plates and stickers every year, this has been in place, I don't know how long, Barb.
I've been in 20 years and it was in place before that.
Yeah, I have a copy of a letter that was sent to the commissioners stating that if there's ever an increase in the buggy plates, and I have a copy with me, that it be considered that the stipends also be increased. So they have not ever been increased since the buggy plates were, what, 25?
20 years for me,
So-
20, probably 5 years.
So this was, I think, the letter of when they were increased to $50 per sticker. So if we did the same increases with the stipend, we'd be looking at $48 per sticker in stipend. I'm not asking for that, but the ordinance has changed the wording that the stipend money goes to the township. And with the new roads infrastructure funds coming up, I'm just requesting you to consider an increase in the stipends for the township so that we can include those monies in our request to you in that fund for use on our roads. I'm not saying $40, I'm just saying, can we do an increase? And I never asked for an increase before because the way it was worded before, Barb and I would get, a stipend for processing, cause it's a lot of extra load on our agenda. But
Or you
now
get
that it's
$8.
township money, I really
That's
would
the
like,
ordinance.
I would really like to request an increase in that stipend. We have, and I've had a discussion, about, when I've called in, about, all of the expenses that we have in processing, so we have paper, we have ink, we have envelopes, we have stamps, we have copies, so that when we are mailing out the order forms for them to bring them in. So we do have expenses involved in processing, so.
So we went from what, $50 to $250 as far as?
200.
Or 200, 250?
250.
250.
We went from 50 to 100 and no changes were made then. And now we recently went from 100 to 250.
Okay,
And also no changes were made to that, to the fee.
Oh, so we were at $100 and went up to 250.
Yeah, you went to 100 like, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
So they had a doubling of it 2 years ago, and now it's a double and a half.
We had increased to 100 to match LaGrange, and right around the same time, right after, they doubled theirs to 200. So,
And I also want to make sure you're aware that Orange Township is also processing their own buggy plates now. So they should also be getting the letter that you sent about them.
Okay, I had asked the auditor and they thought it was just Perry and Elkhart.
Yeah.
It's gonna be Sparta as well, we'll be doing their own, cause they're getting more moving in. Before it was only like 2 or 5,
What do
now
they
they're
do
getting a lot more
Range?
moving.
What's the township
So they'll be
trustees
doing
receive,
theirs.
you know?
I don't know that they do it. I don't know that the townships do it, because I had someone move in this year and, well, no, he was from Michigan, and he said, we don't have buggy plates up there, so we don't know how to do this, so.
Okay.
Well, we had what, 150% increase from 100 to 250? Geez,
Yeah.
if you apply that to your $8, what's that come out to?
15.
How much, $15, $16?
Well, but the $8 was from before, when it doubled from 50 to 100.
It was,
So
Oh,
you
so
got
you're-
double there,
So
so it'd
that's
be
a
16.
400% increase then from
Yeah.
50.
I think LaGrange is still at $6, not to say that it's right or wrong, just what we are looking at is comparisons.
Well, and I think it determines too whether, when we set times for them to come in, they don't always come in. So we don't have guidelines really stating when they're supposed to get them. I get them all through the year. And then also, if I don't see them, I'll send them another postcard. If that doesn't happen, then I go out personally to them. so I don't know what you do.
Additive.
I know there are times that they've asked if they could mail the check in, and I've let them do that and then put the things in the mail. Well, last year we had the actual plates and they lost some of them. So I can't do that anymore. So they could send it in, but either I have to take it or they have to come in and get the plates. So.
What amount are you asking there to be increased to?
I don't know that I have it, I mean, you can give me 48, that'd be fine, no, I mean, you can give my township 48, cause the roads and infrastructure fund, I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but it's coming. Next year it's coming, where unrestricted funds, 30% of our unrestricted funds are going to be handed over to the county.
But in
And
return,
they're
you
gonna-
have to stay in
Yeah,
township.
we'll have a memorandum of understanding with the county with requests of what we want done with that money.
Well, if you take $8.50 and it's $50 and we're $2.50, that's a 400% increase. 8 times 4 is $32 if you wanted to keep up with that percentage as far as increase. I mean, right, is my math wrong? I mean, you know,
I went from 50 to 250, that's 5 times, so 80 to
40.
40.
oh, okay, 5 times. I was going to the increase, okay. But whichever, I'm saying, you know,
I mean, it's really gonna be how do you wanna approach the same issue? Because she's right, with the new changes to the infrastructure requirements they have in a township, I mean, any of their excess funds are gonna go into these capital programs to where they wanna make improvements. The weird thing about that is we've never done anything that way, like there are no township roads like you would have in Ohio or Michigan. It's all county roads, but I get where she's coming from, it's like, where in your township are your biggest needs, whereas we're looking at everything from a county-wide perspective.
And I get that.
Well, and the other thing is, we give that money and it already goes for the roads. And then they're saying, like for Perry Township, we have a lot in there right now for projects that we have coming up. So we can take that out, but it's still a large amount that is gonna go into that fund for roads. And I guess that's good. I mean, we wanna see all the roads, and we wanna see it spent in Perry Township, but not just sitting in your bank account and nothing be done with it. So I think there needs to be, which, you know, we'll have our lawyers involved in it, making sure that we do things right.
Yeah.
So I just, you know, that is a lot of money coming up that we have to make sure that we're doing it right and getting the job done where it needs to be.
And I do think that is a fair approach, because it's geographically speaking, there's only certain areas where we're having buggy nights, right? But it's going into the county general fund, it would make sense to leave a larger portion where it's being generated.
well, we could come up with percentages. If we raise the rates again for the buggy plates, then you people get 8% of whatever that, you know what I'm saying? And again, I came with a 400% increase, in other words, we're at 50. 5 times 4 is 200, that's 250. So $32 to $40, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that, and that percentage, if we increase it to 300, then their stipend would go up. I would be okay with that, come up with the percentage, so as it changes, you don't go 40 years without change. You know, you're getting paid what you were getting paid at $50. Well, yeah, that sounds like nonsense.
So 20.
Well, but it's just gonna mean rewriting the ordinance again, which, you know, to whatever you guys decide on the stipend, so.
I mean, the new rates don't kick in until January, so I
Right.
still think on something like this, it's more to the back end accounting.
To change the ordinance.
Yeah, to amend it, just
Yeah.
specifically for this.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. And then just in general, a request, like you had just said, that, to keep in mind, the money that we hand over that we're collecting for the buggy plates, we would really like it to be contributed back to our roads, which I feel like is why we're collecting in the first place. And what did you say that you talked to them about the tungsten? Did you, in the letter?
No, I gave them the copy of the new orders for the
Oh.
increases, all I gave that to one of the bishops up there, and then they were gonna put it in their local paper.
Okay.
That goes to the Amish paper.
So no one's talked to them about this tungsten?
No.
They're aware of it though, they know what they do, because I've known several of the Amish people there in the wintertime, especially because the ice road conditions, that's what they use it to help stop their horses, but the tungsten is actually a soldered on piece that goes on the shoe, and it's got carbide in it, and what it does, it tears up the asphalt.
Okay.
If you go to LaGrange, you'll see in the county roads, especially the paved ones, where you have a dip where the horse and buggy ride, and then you'll see where LaGrange actually goes in and they repave over,
Right.
they'll come in and grind that out.
Right.
But that's what that does, that wear and tear tears that roadway up.
But, and I don't know, I don't have all the information, but I went to the website and I found the map and the plan for all your roads
For
and stuff
this
you're
year.
gonna do for 25 through 29, I think was, but.
25 to 29 is tabular, but yeah,
Yeah.
the map is for this year.
Yeah, so, when we calculated, how much was gonna be spent in our township, so we hand over 60,000, we know that, so we would like to request that something close to that gets redistributed into our township
You hand over 60,000.
for the buggy plate money.
Okay, potentially.
And
I don't know what we had on receipts, I thought we were at 30,000.
yeah,
That's what was
it
in
was
there.
28, about,
You mean over the years, not just in 1 year?
no, this was 1 year, so if I measure out where you're gonna do a crack seal in Elk Creek Township up here in the corner, and that's all I see for the township, it comes up to, in my calculations, which, you know, around 28,000 is gonna be spent, about 3 miles of crack seal, which you said was 9,500 a mile. So just my request is that we see a significant, you know, or closer to equivalent amount spent on these roads.
I mean, most years we're gonna blow you out of the water, we're gonna be 10, 15, 20. I mean,
Okay.
technically I did that Ball Road project this year, that was almost $800,000 that you're not gonna see on that map.
Yeah, but that's not my township.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean,
thank
we
you.
have $3 million spread out on 12 townships, any given year, like you're gonna see if I put a grant together, I try to keep the projects together so the costs are down.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, this may be a light year in certain places, but on average, you're getting hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s of repairs. I mean, we've had years where we've done a ton of community crossings, we've done a ton of other things up there. But I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
it'd be nice to see the money go towards.
Yeah, the increase triggered my looking into this.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, if I'm handing over this money, so if I'm doing it, 60,000 right now for my buggy plates, and there's still people moving in, and you're increasing it to 250, I really, you know, would like to see that in our township, because, you know, there's roads that had the same bumps, and when I was in high school, and that was a long time ago, so.
And that was my question to the State Board of Accounts. I called this week and I said, we're already giving, you know, that amount to you. Can that be part of the 30% that we're supposed to turn over? And they were kind of blown away about buggy plates and has nothing much down there to support it. So that was eye-opening.
So that's another consideration, is that we include that in our.
Well, and that's what I had asked, and again, they told us to bring it to you. Because we're paying, you know, anywhere from 35 to 40,000 a year. So, and we have a lot more moving in. So that was my point, that, yes, we have the excess, and I understand we take our capital expenses out of that, but it's still quite a bit. So even though we're giving the $40,000 buggy plates, can that be part of the 30%? And that was gonna be something we have to talk about, because they didn't really have anything statute on that, he said.
Or you could just make it all go away and do it here in the courthouse, not involve township trustees.
I guess I'm concerned about the revenue. You say you're spending 60,000 or sending 60,000 a year to the county?
Yes.
What?
And it,
I'd have to pull our receipts, but that seems
so the
much.
prior ordinance
This is
didn't
Perry
stipulate that it
Township.
went to the
This is-
highway fund?
That's the only entry I have in 24 was Perry Township was 35,000.
I think that's our only revenue. Is it 35 is what I've
Unless it
seen?
was receipted in under something else.
We
but-
should probably check on that, especially if
Yeah.
there's gonna start to be Orange and Sparta as well. I mean, that could be a real problem
if we're not
I mean, maybe
receiving
it got
funds.
into
When I've been in
miscellaneous or
20 years,
something.
so it's
My understanding is
always-
it went into your general fund, it didn't go in highway.
No, it goes into the highway. It
It's
should
supposed
go
to,
into-
it's supposed to go.
Well, the prior
And
ordinance didn't say that.
and before when we had asked years ago, they said it just went into the general fund. So then that's why we had a little issue with that at that time.
The receipts for 35,000 is what I'm thinking we get in total, Jackie, so we might have to do some
That was, and
for
I
last
think
year.
that, I thought that check came to you and it comes up as is that not right? Or
I
does
think
it
there might
come
be,
in?
there might be something wrong there, we should look at
Okay,
that.
alright, so I'll fill it, cause under buggy
'Cause-
plates on reimbursement for 2024, it's got 35,000.
Cause I can only see the rates and what we receive, I can't see the total number of registrations that you guys are issuing. So
We
that-
send you a copy of all of it
Well,
along with the
no,
check.
you send them,
Okay, we send
so
them,
what I
sorry.
actually get,
Sorry.
it's a little
So
different.
it's here if you wanna see it, we send everything that we.
Well, I mean, that could make a big difference, if the funds aren't getting to the highway, then of course it's gonna be hard for us to spend them in townships.
Here it is up here, it's under, it just says highway administration, but it's reimbursements, it's Elkhart Township was 55,968.
It was
I
60 this
assume
year.
that was for what?
It'll be over 60 this year.
And I understand what you're saying, Don, as far as back to your township roads, but these buggies don't stay in Elkhart Township.
No, but a lot of them do, I
A
mean,
lot of them do, but, you know, they go over into Perry Township, they go into Wayne's Township.
it's just gonna help them to understand the increase if they see their money making progress, so that's, I'm just requesting that in
Yeah, I
the future.
understand that, that's,
The other thing is, I had a couple that are on gravel roads and they're like, do they have any plans to get rid of the gravel roads? Cause even the buggies and there's probably 5, I think, live on that one and it's around 1,100. And they would prefer having it paved than gravel.
We have a petition process, so anytime there's any issue, whether it's speeding, traffic, road improvements, if you put a petition in, that'll trigger it in our system to go through and a lot of times what we do with the gravel road conversions is we just have a queue. We try to get 3 to 5 miles done a year and we continually attack that. So we've been doing a lot of gravel road conversions over the last 10 years. We're actually under 10% as a county as a whole. Under 80 miles, we have over 812. We're one of the lowest gravel percentages probably in the state.
Is there so many houses that you have to have on that road or what?
No, we just get a petition so that we know they're interested. We don't wanna do something people don't want, because some people wanna live on a gravel road so they're not bothered by traffic. But if we have a petition, we try to clump them together and then in-house, we do a conversion process. We have 5 miles we did this year, we have more than 5 miles of other petitions and we batch them together as we work around the county. So if there's a bunch up there, if we can get them all done at once, that would be ideal.
Okay.
So if you wanna let them
On
know.
the 2 roads that they'll
Yeah,
probably
if you wanna
do it.
let them know, there's a petition template, or they can just write a letter, and have everybody sign it who's in agreement. We don't have any formal requirements, other than just getting something in writing submitted to the highway department.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I got. Thank you. Thank you for your consideration on stipend and just let me know what.
Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, yes, thank you.
Ready? I didn't know if you guys were gonna talk to me about gravel roads and.
oh, so, my mind was still going,
Yeah, I know, I understand.
the increase.
Alright, so, the last time we were all here, we were talking about the upgrade to the jail system. We sent that back, and of course, having IT involved with it, I sent the new contractor the proposal back to them to have them study that, and look at it, see what they can do. I think we're all in agreement that our IT department's gonna assist SAS, they can help them out, they will build the server, is take that down to them to assist with the integration of the video system. And then they will also pay for the licensing to transfer what, Genetec to their system, to try to, mesh that together. They came up with a quote down there at SAS for the total system overhaul of $236,400. And that's with us doing part, I think I emailed you guys a new quote. Nate was good with everything, they were very happy with everything, the way it turned out, so I think everybody's working on the same sheet of music now, so we can move forward with that hopefully. So, I have enough funds available in commissary as well as the federal housing committee we need to help offset these costs here, so we'll still have plenty left in there.
And when would this begin?
As soon as they get the signed contract, they'll start working on it, and they will bill me monthly, I will take care of that as the system goes, and they were thinking probably a 7 to 9 month project for them to get everything put together. Cause I'm gonna have to do some work in the back on the booking counters, cause if you remember, Gary, how they have the in-counter system back there for opening the cell blocks, that's the push button, that's gonna be eliminated.
Okay.
And then, there'll be a touch screen there as well, so. It needs some work done back there anyway, because it's in terrible shape,
I trust Max.
so.
I didn't get into your stuff, it came through at home, came through here, it was all blank.
Really?
Yeah,
I can go make copies.
No, that's fine.
Okay,
No,
so
I mean,
here's the original.
we talked about it,
So.
these guys have reviewed it.
Max, can you send me a copy
Yeah,
for
I
the
should-
file? I can
Yeah,
get
if they
one.
approve everything, I will make a copy of it, I'll bring one back into you, okay, so.
Any comment?
No, like Mike said, or
Oh, good.
asked, yeah, stuck in here. No, like you said, I think it looks great. Definitely going to be big improvements back there from what they have now to what it's going to be, especially with the way they can listen back to recording and everything else. So I think it's gonna be,
It's gonna be a very major upgrade for the whole system back there,
Yeah.
because right now, we're still working in, it's like dark ages back there.
How old was your system, I forget?
25, 20 some years old, it went in 99.
99, oh,
So-
wow, that's old for,
Yeah, especially, well, when the gentleman from SAS went up to the attic to see what he goes, yeah, we can't buy parts for the system anymore, so. And Danny, I think you got a copy, did you
I
read it?
got a copy, and you know, as long as what
Yeah.
they got as far as what the project is
The scope of
your
the work.
understanding of it.
yeah,
And I-
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly, and I think with Nate and Dave being involved with it, they can kind of monitor too what's going in and be able to see what's going, cause they'll know more about that stuff than
Oh, yeah,
what I do, so.
me too.
I will, make a motion that we approve the contract with SAS, which is an acronym for Security Automation Systems, for the, security project at the jail. The contract sum is $236,400.
second.
We have a motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
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 I think there's a sheet right there for you, so I don't know the second one or the
Yeah,
first one.
you're the primary customer contact.
Yeah, I'll take care of that. You don't wanna do that either?
What was the change, in this quote versus the other one? Why was this one so much less?
Because we are not changing anything with the Genetec system, they're just gonna convert it over and
Yeah, you sold the two quotes last time. The
Yeah.
one, the larger one was them doing the cameras and everything else. sales,
Right.
so we're keeping Genetech, so
Okay.
that pulled that
Yeah.
price out.
Okay.
But we also pulled out another, I think about 4,000,
Right,
because we are going to supply the server instead of them.
Right.
And so basically, instead of having one server, since we're gonna supply, we're actually gonna have redundancy, we're gonna have 2 of them here for us, so we pulled that cost and can do that on IT side in our budget.
Right, that's all I have, thank you.
Not too
Next one is 10:30, want to take a brief recess? We'll just.
We're here, but you guys do what you want, I mean,
I don't care.
okay.
You wanna go?
Yeah.
I saw you come, David, I was looking down,
Usually when I show up, people look out. Morning. We got a couple things, I don't know whether you wanna do Steve's first or mine, it really doesn't make any difference to me. But let's get mine out of the way, because mine's pretty much perfunctory. Health department they're in the process of finishing up, doing finish work on the remodel of the basement out south complex. And so we're doing the wire terminations for the networking and things like that. We'd like to have them done a little sooner because we have the interns until this week, but we'll get it done. One of the things that came up is because of the way the building will be used at this point, there's no electronic controls on that lower door that goes down, the ramp that goes down to where the health department's gonna be. And I anticipate there's gonna be a lot of public traffic coming through there to go directly into that section of the health department rather than go upstairs, down the steps and the elevator and all that. So one of the things I'd like to see, if it's okay with you, is for us to put electronic controls on that door, just like we have upstairs. So that way the perimeter doors on our buildings, as we get the chance to kind of catch them all up to the same level, we can have people badge in and out. The door can be set to be unlocked at certain hours and schedules and things like that, versus right now it'd be a key lock or they'd have to unlock it and there's no auditing of that door. So the other door upstairs, at least one of the 2 upstairs, is set up electronically for access. It's a cost that we can cover in our budget. I've got an estimate here to do this. It's not, it looks like a quote, but because they don't have to do it exactly, we're not sure if that's a solid number or not. We know that's pretty much what the cost will be. And there's details on the back of that. But I mean, just from my perspective, to have consistency between all of our buildings, it'd be nice to have electronic controls on that door.
Well, when we start putting the electronic control period in our buildings, and we talked about South Complex.
And we've got them there on the outside, the main door, we've got electronic controls and we've got, surveillance cameras. I talked to Jason about if we thought there'd be a need for any other cameras or any other, and right now they don't see that. And they don't need any internal electronic access on the doors. It's not like they're gonna lock that room up from the hallway. Although they might mechanically, I guess, if they're having meetings in the Decker room downstairs. Just cause you wouldn't want people just wandering around in there. But it's not, I don't think they anticipate, I think they're anticipating the public's coming from the outside down that ramp and into that instead of coming through the rest of the building.
Do we have a camera on the outside in that enclosed area where the ramp is?
Yeah. There's a corner camera that faces looking down, and then it looks around the corner, so. Yeah, cause we had a few weeks ago, something was going on out there. Well, what happened was the alarm triggered out there. And we went back and looked at the cameras and it was the alarm triggered. There was nothing out there, it was a false trigger. I don't know if something wasn't closed or something, but anyway, so if we're in the middle of doing this work now, it seemed like it'd be a good time to have that put in there and just before we get done with letting people in and out of it.
I'm in favor of it. I entertain a motion, if you would, please.
I'll make a motion that we approve the quote from Tech Solutions for $2,298.32
for electronics on the basement doors.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
Let's have about three things. The first one is, this is a proposal for professional services for GIS enterprise migration. And we're looking at a consultant called Evan Marsh that would be performing that work. It's a contract for not to exceed $30,000. And what that would entail basically is taking our GIS system, migrating it to the most current version that's out there, because we're about 4 or 5 versions behind. It's been since 2022 since we did our last upgrade. So, and we're at a point where we need to do the upgrade because the software that we're currently using, some of it's not going to be supported as of March 2026. And this upgrade will get us to where we need to be for that.
So your software's only, what, 3 years old at this point?
Yeah, it's version 10.9.2, and then version 11 came out, and then 11, 11.2, 11.3, 11.4, and now 11.5 is out.
Your original copy.
But,
Alright, I'm always skeptical of that.
Yeah.
No,
That's good.
I really,
I'm glad, no, you
I mean, just because they are gonna support it doesn't mean he can't fix it. I mean, that's how they like to scare you sometimes.
No, and this is architecturally, the software is completely different. Going from major version 10 to major version 11, it's literally,
I mean,
you
you don't
can't
think
even just do, it's not like, let's load some updates to it.
Yeah.
It's literally, what this work is taking his data, not the software, setting it aside, if you will, or freezing it, installing a new system, and now connecting to that data. You're not carrying forward any of the old software. In fact, we have to run both of them in parallel so that we can move one function at a time over from one system to the other. It's kind of like moving from one old house to a new house is really what it comes down to.
I mean, you know where I'm coming from.
No, I understand.
There's an update, you need another 30 grand.
Well, no, and that's one of the things is where we need to get this caught up. I mean, even though it was 2022 when it was updated, even that wasn't the most current at the time. It was enough to keep the wolves at bay so that we didn't have to make other concessions that we didn't want to have to make. But now, as it was a year and a half ago or so, we moved to the enterprise software model. We need to get on that path completely. We need to get ourselves completely on that path. And it's gonna change a lot of the ways that outside agencies can access the information. It's gonna change the way that departments themselves access the information. In the long run, it's gonna make it much more accessible and more supportable on the new footprint. But GIS just keeps moving, and the reason is because the ways people are using it keep moving. We haven't even talked about AI in GIS, and when that happens, that's gonna change the world.
Well, that's coming in version 12.
Because that's when the public goes in there and says, I need to have a map created that does this, this, and this, which is what people do to Steve right now. They say, I need this, and he has to go in and figure out how to do it. AI's gonna do it. But then your dependency is making sure the systems are up to date, making sure that the data is all good and intact, so when somebody who doesn't understand GIS asks for it, they get something back that they understand. But it's gonna change. AI is changing everything. And it's changing it faster than we keep up, and people hear like, what's AI? I don't know.
But this is gonna last, you were saying, what did I say, up until for like 4 or 5 years, right?
What it will do is it'll get us on a path that we can do the updates ourselves rather than having to bring somebody in to basically help us build the next house.
So you were putting patches on old systems, is that what you were doing?
Yeah, it's because the way that the user interacts with the data changed. In the
Again,
past.
I'm sorry, man, I don't.
Okay, in the past, you would install software on your computer and then keep updating the software on your computer, and then you go pull the data and do all this work. Now you're not gonna be doing that. You're gonna go into a browser, your internet interface, and you're gonna go in just like you would go to Beacon almost, and you're gonna say, I need to do this and this and this, and we can let users actually edit the data from that interface, which we couldn't before. They had to have the software and you had to manage all the side. It's a better way of doing things, but it just, like everything, it evolves.
I think one of the reasons why we've kind of delayed upgrading is because there are third-party applications that are going to be affected by this upgrade. Spillman is one of them. the version that they have is not compatible with this version yet. That's something I need to talk with Dave Spence about, what his plans are this fall, because I know there was an upgrade slated for Spillman. But I mean, that's a concern, you know, because Spillman's gonna have to get on the bandwagon eventually, because they know they're getting behind. And then you have Strain Calc in the surveyor's office. That is based on ArcMap. ArcMap's going away, March of 2026. Eggland, which is used in the auditor or assessor's office for soil sheets and that's based on ArcMap, that's going away. So, I mean, those have to be taken into consideration with this upgrade as well. So there's just a lot of things, and unfortunately, everything is moving and we've kind of delayed as long as we can, but now we have to do something.
Play catch up.
Right.
We're gonna be running, like I said, two systems in parallel. The data will be common, but the two systems will be able to access it independently, so that everything that isn't updating as fast as we'd like, they'll still be able to get to it through the old system, but eventually that, in March, that old system is no longer supported. Then it becomes our problem. That's
No, I
the point.
understand
I mean,
how that
and
works.
March is when the old system becomes our problem. And then after that, and that's why you wanna get out, you wanna deprecate that thing and get it out of there by that point in time.
Well, but then that could be supporting, well, it's like Windows 10. You know, as of October, they're not going to be really supporting it unless you're paying for it. I guess they're going to pay for extended support, but yeah, so they're not gonna be providing the software patches and all that. So that's kind of where we're at with ArcMap. It's dead. They're not gonna support it any longer. The architecture went from 32-bit to 64 with ArcPro, and that's what they're moving forward with. And,
Well, I mean, I used unsupported software at my place for a very long time, because you know, I had a great computer guru, all right?
Yeah.
You look like one of those.
Oh, I hope I'm not the only one.
So I'm just saying, that's a scare tactic a lot of times to me, oh, we're not gonna support it. Well, that doesn't mean it's not gonna work. But if this isn't functioning for you, just period.
Well, what's gonna happen is
It's
that
an
outside
absolute
systems just aren't
necessity.
gonna, I mean, it's gonna create havoc. It's not just a single user type of thing where the single user can keep using it. We got systems at the sheriff's department that were put in when Gary came in as a sheriff.
1999 is it, I mean, you know.
And they're still running. Now, they haven't supported in more than years than I count, but they can still go in there and extract data out of it. I would love to kill it because I don't know, the data that dies, I don't know, we can't do anything about it. It's completely unsupported, but they keep using it.
It's 30,000,
yes.
where's that coming from then?
Well, there's about, I think, 24 and change coming from the CEDAT line item for GIS, or GIS line item, not CEDAT. And then there's gonna be a sum that's been rolled into the professional services account in my budget. So those two,
Those are basically covered.
yes.
And then there's, why don't you tell them about the other two parts of this too, so they can see how there's three pieces to this that kind of fit together. This is the critical one that needs to be done, which is getting his software updated, so that it can continue to be functional.
The consultant has two other things that he wants us to consider. So two other separate contracts, but one would be to do a GIS technology strategic plan, and that, I mean, that's one thing I wanted to talk with you about. You know, I kind of create my own in-house plans, what I wanna do, but this would definitely supplement and extend what I have in here. You know, at least from the technology standpoint, where I'm maybe not the expert at being able to figure out what we can do with this new technology more than what I have stated in this document, if that makes sense.
What Steve has in his document are tasks that he wants to see get accomplished over a period of time, over the next 5 years. What Marsh is proposing is sitting down and looking at both the capabilities of this system when we get it in place, what Steve wants to accomplish, along with some other bigger picture things, and say, let's work out a strategic plan that doesn't specifically point out all the details that he's got outlined there, but says, this is the roadmap that keeps us moving forward. Here is how other entities can use your GIS over time and how we would be able to support that, and the mechanisms that would be in place to do it. So it's not a critical thing at this point, but we have to, I mean, Steve's already with that, and we in IT are gonna be looking at this conversion process and making some long-term decisions based on how we do a few things. There's gonna be a few things about this implementation that we have to go, okay, Well, this is how we envision the system working in a few years because this software gives us the capability. So it's kind of the beginnings of actually doing that kind of a plan. So like I said, it's not a critical thing, and it probably doesn't really, we wouldn't really be able to put any attention to it until this is pretty much in place, because we just can't, there's just not enough resource to do that.
So this would be a contract not to exceed 12,000 for that study. So that'd be like part two, and then the third part is basically on GIS call services. So, once we determine what would be our focus after doing the strategic plan, then we can start implementing that with their assistance.
Right, and then, so this third piece really is saying, once you know what you wanna do, if your internal staff can't accomplish these things, you can part out things to somebody else because the framework is well understood. I need you to build me this. Here's the framework we're using, here's the requirements, and then if it needs to be done and Steve and his staff can't get that done, then you can go to that, vendor and say, okay, build me this. It's kind of like what we do with tech solutions and security systems. Oh, we need an incremental thing to do this, we go to them and they tell us here's what it takes to do it. So it's not really removing what GIS does internally, it's simply saying, here's the capability. And or furthermore, let's suppose Kendallville wants to do something with our GIS data, okay? And they go to Steve, can you build this? Well, we can say, well, he doesn't have the capacity to get that done right now, but if you go to these guys, here's what you can do to get this built if you want this tool that you need, and they can build it for them. So we can then help other people access our system.
And let's say Kendallville wants something, do they pay those fees then?
Yeah, that's what the idea would be is if you think that it's something we should be doing, then we would. But if it's something that they're asking for, that the data would be valuable, but it's not really benefiting the county directly, at that point in time, you say, okay, well, if you guys want it, here's what it takes to get it done. It's an extension, if you will, of the system. And I think there may be a lot of times where you're gonna find outside agencies, it might even be other software packages, for other departments to say, yeah, we wanna be able to do this. We wanna be able to integrate this stuff into our software. It'll be slow, we're government, nothing moves fast. But outside entities are the ones that would tend to put the pressure on us to do those things. And that's just a choice, just a decision of who's paying for it.
We have a lot of outside municipalities that are using our system.
Utilities and other things like that may want access to this for various reasons, and the cost may be insignificant in their system. And for us, it just, you can only have so many things on your plate to prioritize. So well, and the thing is, it's just good to know, here's roughly what the cost of doing this kind of work is gonna be in terms of exercising that. So I don't know, I mean, to me, the most important thing is get this first thing done, get ourselves in the way. The other two are more sort of just looking at the horizon. You couldn't really look at the strategic stuff until probably, next year, beginning of next year. But if you wanna earmark money to do that now, I mean, if Steve says that's the highest priority for GIS and he's got money, set aside to do those things, then I think this is sort of a heads up of where that would be.
Do we charge people? I mean, if we have other entities using our software, our systems, do we charge them? I mean, okay, like a contractor.
Steve charges them for a map.
Well, I mean, like a contractor, get on his phone and see boundaries, it's all free gratis, right?
Well, yeah.
I just didn't know.
I mean, Beacon pretty much does most of that for us, and then Steve's got some other custom apps that do some things, like we have one we take out in the field, having to do locates on a fiber optic and things like that. Of course, for county, so we get that benefit. Jason's got one for septic and things like that. So internally, we're doing things like that already. But the thing is to open it up and make this thing more accessible to anybody.
Well, I didn't know if you were doing, like if Kendallville, what do they use your software?
Well,
Did they?
part of what's happening is there's duplication of data, right? Kendall's got some of their own data.
Right.
Without Ligonier.
Well, not too much with them. Yeah, I would say it's either Avila. Well, Ligonier does do some CAD work for utilities. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of utility infrastructure in our system because that's not our focus. We're more the rural county, so parcel driven. Not to say we couldn't have it, but in Kendallville, they are starting to share information with us. We're sharing our parcels with them so they don't have to duplicate effort. and like our 911 dispatch is being shared, so the maps that we provide is being shared with them.
Yeah, so there's, I mean, we're seeing it happen, but as soon as you put a framework in place that makes it easy for people to do it, then the demand starts to go up. So we don't know what the demand is yet, but to at least be recognizing that that's probably an option for us. And I think it's a good thing because there may be data we would like to have access to in our system. Different databases and things that we might say we want to be able to incorporate. Because some outside third party wants to take both of those and put them together and create apps. So. I think of ideas all the time that Steve should work on it.
It's like probably better than I can.
It probably drives you crazy, and I'm always going, hey, what if we could build an app to do this, like how that makes it? Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, let's back to the first request on the $30,000.
No, it's not.
Step one, is that what you wanna
Okay,
call
that's
it?
it, yep. Phase one, whatever.
Phase one, step
As
one.
far as looking at the contract, the 4 pages, I mean, there's stuff in there, I don't know why it's in there, like, you go to page 2, paragraphs 9, 10, 11, 12, 17, 22,
There's boilerplate.
18, we don't usually list someone as an additional insured, we just give them a copy of our liability insurance. I mean, there's stuff in here that, I mean, it's talking about underground structures.
Yeah. Well, again, we're not a municipality, so we don't tend to have those.
I know, we don't have that stuff, and then.
Like I said, I think it might be boilerplate, this is something they
It
can
is,
pull out
but
or.
I hate to sign something just because this is what they want us to sign. I'd prefer we take out those paragraphs that really don't apply to us, so.
Yeah, sure. I don't think there's, we're not on that kind of an urgent timeline, we have to have this thing taken care of today. I think we're just trying to, I guess it's the first time the commissioners have actually seen this in its form,
Right, it is.
so.
And just as far as both of your understandings with the work plan and all they're gonna do is what your understanding is of what they're gonna do. Okay.
Scary.
Cause that, yeah, I don't understand it.
Yeah, that much I think we got a good handle on.
Okay, but that's the problem I have is, I mean, it's just their standard.
Boilerplate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, would you be willing to give me a copy of what you would like us to take out?
I don't know, yeah, like I said, if you have it in front of you.
Yeah, I do.
There's on page 2.
Okay, page 2, yes.
Paragraph 9, 10, 11, 12, 17, 18, like I said, we don't usually put someone as an additional named insured on our liability. We just give them a copy of what our coverage is and that suffices. 22, it says contractor work, I don't know how that applies. The rest of it I could live with.
We're gonna have to take a look too to make sure it's not something that contractor work or something that seems like.
Yeah, if they got we aren't hiring a contractor.
Well, I mean, effectively, I'll look and see if it's like some sort of pass-through thing, like they brought in somebody to do something for the project. I'll check.
Because it talks more about. Because they'll have no authority to direct or control the work of the contractor.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's somebody they hire in to do work for them and that we can't control them directly.
Oh, no, it's saying they can't.
Oh, is it saying they can't do it?
It's a contractor we bring in.
Oh.
So, I mean, it really doesn't apply at all.
Yeah, that doesn't apply at all in that case, yes. If that's the direction, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll look at it real quick and then, you wanna see it before he sends it back to them with the changes in it?
Yeah, see if they agree to that and what they wanna do with it.
Okay. Do that.
Okay, you got homework to do there, right?
Yeah, I do.
Got 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks ago, I was going, what's that deadline coming at us? But anyway, these guys seem very competent, they had a really good insight as to what we were trying to do, and what we needed to do. I mean, it was better than having somebody just try to give you a sales pitch, literally just sitting down there and hammering out what steps that need to be taken and all that, so. Anyway.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, thank you. So you can get yourself back on the schedule in 2 weeks.
Okay, and then, let's see, Jordan Gibbs, who is the new GIS analyst, so she'll be starting August 25th, so she hasn't started yet. But just wanted to give you an idea of, what's transpired, so, came to you in February this year, and we said, go ahead and move forward. So then I met with the council, and in April, they, we discussed it, they approved it, and then that position with the job description went to the factoring committee and the salary committee, those two. And they set a salary range that was 58.7 to 65. But we're starting her out at 55 with the 10% reduction for the 90-day period. So then by the end of the year, she'll be at the 55 then.
What's her background?
Well, she's 22 years old, and she, went to Ball State, and she's been working with the city of Elkhart for about last, year and a half, I think.
She went to Ball State to study what?
Well, she had a couple different things that she studied. She was going into pharmacy to begin with. She worked at Walgreens, and that's the pharmacy tech to begin with, and then she joined with the AmeriCorps.
AmeriCorps, yeah.
Yeah, so she was with that, and then that's where she's landed her job now, and she got into GIS and found that that was really something that she was interested in. So she's been working with them, developing some different projects, sign inventory and what's called, sorry.
I'm trying to read your mind, but I can't pull it out.
Dashboards is what I'm trying to think of.
There you go, yeah.
Dashboards.
Yeah.
So, she's working on furthering her education. She wants to get the certification, GIS certification, so that's like the first step.
Sure.
And so I'm hoping that that's one thing that she's really interested in pursuing, and that would
We
be.
really need somebody if you aren't here
Yes.
for an extended period of time.
Right. So most of the people, I would say everyone that had applied for this job was pretty new at GIS. Because a lot of people are looking for a little bit higher pay, but hey, we're government, we don't necessarily pay what the private sector is, but it's not bad starting out, because I did not start out at 55, so. But she's worked well with Elkhart, City of Elkhart, and was well recommended. So
What's the
I'm
top,
excited.
what's the top range on her pay?
I think it was 68,000, which is what the salary committee.
Can go up.
So we're definitely kind of starting her below what was recommended, but at least we have a carrot, once you
Right.
finish your certification, then.
My only concern or caution with all this is that I've got a person who just graduated with a 4-year engineering degree, and they start at the same salary. So there's a difference in skill set and expectation, I think, and my concern is not what the GIS person gets paid, it's not my concern. My concern is that kind of puts pressure on me in terms of salaries that I have to go to the council and try to get approved, because I'm looking at skill sets that are gonna cost us more money. It puts a pressure on me to do that, so that's a concern I have. Other than that, I just wanna make sure that whoever Steve gets is somebody that'll be able to effectively be his second when he's not here or something else is going on, and make sure that they have the skill set to be able to do those kind of things, so.
So, and then I guess the third thing is the long, drawn out thing that I put together for you, the strategic plan that I have, so I guess the nice thing is, since we waited 6 months for me to hand this to you, is that some of the things that I have in here are already starting to implement, so.
Did you write this yourself?
I did. The only thing I did not write was the executive summary. I did get that to Copilot. I said, take this document, summarize it for me. But yeah, I did write it. I did.
Cool. Well, I think, I know you guys don't like hearing this, but a lot of what you're talking about, variation in pay, I think you need an HR department to get the consistency where it needs to be. It does. I mean, you guys got what, 200 and some odd employees, man, I mean, it's.
I've been an advocate for a long time of us looking at some of the processes that we have, really, cause we're doing something, it's somewhat consistent. But I just think, there needs to be, I think, a little bit better, questions like, do we background check everybody? Is that a requirement? Is there a gate that says we've done that before we hire them, checking credentials and references.
Others, I mean, a number of employees, yeah.
I can tell you how many times people send me, post this on the web, and I say, nope, Jackie's gonna send me that. I'm not posting anything that has to do with job postings and all that, because that's not, I'm the tech guy to get it out there on the web, but it's not my job to say it's ready to be posted, the job's available, because
It's just hard working with 30 different CEOs.
No, I mean,
It is, I mean, you
no
just.
disrespect to you, but that's one big thing that I see, you need a department.
well, that's the way IT was built, right? It was like everybody needed technology, and rather than everybody doing their own thing and getting something done, we said we're gonna invest in making this a core thing, and that's what we tried to do. So, I mean, I see it as a parallel type of situation.
What is MXDS?
No, it's the extent, it's the file extension for a map document, or a
Okay.
map. Nice deed.
Saw that, and what the heck is
Yeah.
that?
Tech talk.
Yeah.
I try to keep that out of this document if we can, but sometimes it slips in. We good? All right.
Thank you for coming in.
Thanks.
And if you get something, you can email me, and if it's before the meeting.
All right.
Okay, see ya.
Thank you so much.
I just have one other thing, Donna Swartz said mine's getting here, so she handed it to me before she left. So this is that agreement for the bucket plates that I had said you did Perry's already, but Donna had not signed hers yet.
Now, do we have to do a motion specific to it?
Yep.
I remember how we did the last one.
Did last.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the interlocal cooperative agreement between Noble County and Elkhart Township. And as far as provisions and duties in the licensing of horse-drawn vehicles and other non-motorized vehicles. Ordinances specifically in section 2. Is that all you need?
Second.
We have a motion second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, anything else? Oh. On this DocuSign paperwork, Dennis.
Yeah. Well, it's on, it's an email I got, so I can forward that to you, and then you just electronically sign it and fill it in.
Okay, I didn't get an email from on a DocuSign.
Well, I did the other ones before, they've always gone through me.
Okay.
But whether you want me to do that, I can, but I can put the address here as far as correspondence, so that's fine with everybody.
I don't care.
So,
You want to sign that?
okay,
That's fine.
give her back to me, so.
All right. Well, anything else?
The only thing is, the council, you were there, they were looking at the policy as far as electronic meetings. I don't know if you were there still when they were talking about that, as far as if they couldn't be present, they could be present electronically, and whether you wanna do something or, because there's a statute, it just tells about it, so. Could have been.
Can we do something that we would still have a quorum here, physically here?
Yeah, you have to.
I was gonna say,
You have to have
because
a
I don't
physical
wanna be
quorum.
in a
But then your other,
situation-
like them,
yeah,
they'd have to have 4 there anyhow.
Right, right,
You'd
I
have
just
to
didn't
have
wanna
2,
be in a
like,
situation.
You were up in Michigan, you didn't wanna come back for a meeting and you could just join in.
On my phone?
I don't know how to do that, so don't worry.
But with that policy, does that give them, if they're in the meeting electronically, the right to vote?
If you have a policy setting forth that, yes. But it's limited on how many times each one can do it per year, and I think it's twice a year, I think, it can't be consecutive.
Well, I think other counties have done it, it's something we should look at, as long as it's not abused, that's.
Right, it would have been helpful during COVID.
I just didn't wanna get in a situation where everybody's calling in, nobody's here, you know, that.
No, you can't do
Yeah,
that.
okay, that's what I was afraid of, that we would, you know, so, okay. Except for me, I'd be lonely up here.
Okay, I'll look at,
Yeah, I guess. Policy.
because that was something Casey had brought up. Okay.
Hey, Andy, are you guys, is the plan commission looking at updating their stuff? This man was in, remember last week, and it was, I don't know, I was at the last, 3A meeting, and these people are doing the same thing. Maybe I should give this to you in case this is, I mean, they seem like really nice people, I don't think give a nice presentation. Sounds like they're doing the same thing this gentleman's doing. You want this, in
I
case,
think we had this card, I believe that, yeah.
I mean, this is the guy that introduced himself at the last meeting, this gentleman, Tim.
Yeah.
I don't know, you can have that, it was the last 3A
Doing
meeting.
what? What are you guys doing?
Oh, they,
Comprehensive plan?
I mean, it's something.
well, they upgrade, these people, they said if your zoning ordinance is 10 years old, it's, needs to be updated, and I think that's what this gentleman was doing. Here, I'll just give you that, you throw it away, or give it to whomever, maybe somebody to talk to, maybe competing, what do I wanna
This
say,
is Jackie. Yeah.
quotes.
Shelley's got them, they're over in Shelley, yeah, just send them over to Shelley's office, okay? Bye.
Anything else?
Do you want his card? Okay, that's the guy that was here.
Nothing else, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second,
Motion second, all in favor, say aye.
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 Oh, you wanna recess, cause you're coming back at 1.
Oh, we're coming back.
Sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't
Cancel
catch
the
that,
last
I'm
vote.
sorry.
Interest.
You got those LYs this afternoon, so.
1 o'clock.
I guess so, okay.